In today's episode, we'll be training Invention, Archaeology, Herb Lore, and a little bit of Slayer. My Herb Lore training method might surprise you. It actually won't. You see, this is the great thing about killing fires. You don't just get fire making and prayer XP, but you can also level up your Sun Spear, which is a very good weapon to use against them. They can disassemble it and replace it very cheaply. Now that we have 62 Invention, we can use a Super Invention potion to boost to 67 and discover the blueprint for the auto screener, which is a very useful item when training Archaeology. The only thing is we need the associate rank at the Archaeology Guild to buy the blueprint, which is what we're going to get right now. There are a few requirements for the associate rank, but we already had it. We just have to discover some artifacts, complete some mysteries, easy stuff. You're probably going to do it on the way to 70 anyway. You might have to get to 75, 76 to fully complete it unless you're really chasing it. We're at 75, we already have it done. That means we can buy the blueprint for the auto screener and also the mattock upgrade that we get at the associate rank. So it's great that we can boost and get the blueprint for the auto screener, but we still need to get the components and the parts to make it. Now, organic parts are a little tedious to get, but you just disassemble living things because that's not evil. Variable components are a bit more difficult because there's no real one way of getting them. The recommended method, and the one that worked for me, was Haralander tar, or Marantil tar, or Taraman tar, just the tars that you would use for salamander weapons. They're pretty easy to get at this level of our Ironman account. We don't really need Marantil, Taraman, and Haralander for much of anything. Maybe there are some incense sticks we'll need in the future, but by that point we'll be able to get Marantils and Taramans and all that very easily. Right now we're just going to disassemble the tar and get 15 variable components. So at this point, if you don't know what the auto screener is, you're probably wondering what the hell is it? Why is it so useful? Well, you see, when you do archaeology, sometimes you get soil. You can screen this soil at the Archaeology Guild and have a chance of getting some materials, or, very rarely, an artifact. With the auto screener on you, when you're excavating at a dig site that gives soil, there's a chance that it will destroy the soil and give you a material. If it doesn't give you a material, it still destroys the soil and you don't have to worry about it. Well, now you might be saying, this thing sounds pretty great. But what's the cost, tricky salesman? Well, I'm going to tell you how much it's going to cost. It's going to cost you 3.33 energy per soil screened. And you might even get a material back in return. That right there, I'm telling you, that right there will get you 900 soil screened per divine charge. Why, it's only going to cost you 72.3 GP per soil screened. If that ain't a good deal, I don't know what is. I'm not going to get too into it right now, but this is basically the method I use for training archaeology. It's two-pronged at level 76. First, you complete Tetra Compasses as soon as you can. Second, you build up a supply of artifacts that you can use to get more Tetra Compasses in the future. Right now, we can't fully complete the Green Gobbo Goodies 1 collection, since we need 83 archaeology to excavate the Goblin Dorm debris. However, at 76, we can excavate the gladiatorial Goblin remains. You get 3 artifacts from this excavation site, all of which go to Green Gobbo Goodies 1. It also happens to be right near a material storage location, which means you can sit there and AFK for a long time, and the only time you have to actually go back to a bank is when your inventory fills up with too many artifacts. So what we're going to do is just collect a bunch of artifacts for the future, so that when we can actually excavate the next part of the collection, we can turn them all in and get a ton of Tetra Compasses. So pretty much the method for training after 76 is to stay at one spot and just restore artifacts and hold on to them for later. And then in the near future, we'll be able to turn in a bunch of collections, get a ton of chronotes, get a bunch of Tetra Compass pieces, complete the Tetra Compasses, and get a bunch of experience from the completed tomes that are in the Tetra Compass reward caskets. Every casket gives you 1 or 2 tomes that scale with your level. It's not bad. This is why I really like archaeology. There's a lot of build-up and then an eventual windfall. Just boom, and you get a bunch of stuff. It's great. But don't think I've just been training one skill at a time. I'm not going to neglect my herb lore. Let me show you the best method for training herb lore on an Ironman. Alright, so you come to Barrows, and you stand on this mound. You see that rock right there? It's not actually a rock. If you pull out your sextant, and you take a closer look at it, it's actually a penguin inside a suit that looks like a rock. Did you know if you spy on a bunch of these penguins, a polar bear will give you herb lore experience? Runescape's weird. I figured I had to mention that because in the previous clip when I made the auto screener, I had 85 herb lore and now I have 88. How the hell did that happen? Weekly penguins. That's pretty much the main method for me. And by doing a little bit of woodcutting, we now have all the levels we need to do the light within. We want to do this quest not just because it's a quest and we want to do all the quests, but because it gives herb lore XP. And we're chasing a specific herb lore level, and the reason why will be revealed very soon. So we got all these crystals together. We're going to kill Halaned because she's part of Saren, I guess. And then all the elves are going to sing a holy song to bring Saren back. All of my time, all of the sacrifices that we put in to bring Saren back is all culminating in this one moment. Look at her. It didn't work. You know, it probably wasn't smart to bring another god back to Gielinor, but we got a reward for it and that's all that matters. All in a day's work for a murder hobo. Remember kids, stay in school, brush your teeth, And always speak to your lawyer first. Murder hobo, away! Whoa, murder hobo getting political. Another pretty good source of Herblore XP is the Troll Invasion Distraction and Diversion that you can do every month that I always forget to do, and I'm sure you do too. And this other method of training Herblore is actually pretty rare for an Ironman, but it's making potions. And we get 89 Herblore. With 89, we can make Extreme Strengths, Wormfire Potions, and Extreme Divination Potions. At around this point in training Herblore, it actually gets better to train it with potions because you can make extremes, and you need them for overloads. But right now, what we want to do is boost from 89 to 95 with a Spicy Stew. At 95, you can make Extreme Invention Potions. The Extreme Potions introduced with the Player-Owned Farms update all give you a scaling level boost. The higher your level, the higher the boost, up to a maximum of plus 17. Now, technically, the scaling isn't scaling with your level, it's scaling with the amount of XP you have in the skill. You get the plus 17 boost after you get about 2.5 million experience in that skill. For most skills, that's around 82, but for Invention, it's a much lower level because it's an elite skill, which means the XP curve is different. And that means at level 62, we can use one of those potions and boost to level 79. By boosting to level 79, we get a huge amount of blueprints available for us to discover and get even more XP from, which gets us a higher level, which means the potion can boost us to a higher level, unlocking more blueprints. Extreme Invention Potions are invaluable for anybody playing the game, not just Ironman, but since they're not tradable, you need to get 95 Herblore, or 89 with a Spicy Stew. So there's the Goblin and Dwarf tech tree that have some useful unlocks in them. You basically just turn in some components and whatnot, and you get currency. At level 70, you can get the Oldak coil, and I was curious if a boost would allow me to buy it, and it turns out it does. So we bought the Oldak coil blueprint, we're going to discover it, and then we're going to make it and sit on it for, well, not sit on it, I mean, not actually sit on it, but why is it so phallic? Am I the problem? I think I'm the problem. Anyway, we're going to make it and hold on to it for a bit because it could be useful in the future. It uses cannonballs like a Dwarven multi-cannon, but it only attacks enemies within a 9x9 radius of the coil. It also uses magic instead of ranged. So we returned to Archaeology and we got 81, which means we can now excavate the tailory debris, which is very useful because it allows us to get a new relic. There's actually several relics we can get. 2 of them come from completing collections, and the other one comes from giving an Aviancy dream coat to Armadil. According to Armadil, it belonged to his second husband, Obisuth, but did not protect him from death from Zamorak's destruction of Foreign-3. So it means a lot to him, and he gives you the Ring of Solomon in exchange. But we don't care that much about the Ring of Solomon. What we really want to do is hand in the final artifacts to complete the Armadillian 1 collection and get the item King Oberon's Mushroom Spores. We can take these Mushroom Spores to the Fairy Queen, and in exchange she gives us a new relic. This relic gives us the Pharmacology power, which means our herb and mushroom patches no longer become diseased. It's very good if you need a lot of herbs and mushrooms for training Herblore on an Ironman. We're going to get rid of the Font of Life power because the extra 500 HP isn't really useful right now for me. I'm not doing high-end PVM, so I care more about herbs. I also lucked out with the imcando mattock pieces and all the keys you need to unlock the forge. I'm only level 82 and I'm able to make the mattock right now. Also, while you're here, you can get an item that you can activate with the flame gloves to get a new relic, but we don't have the flame gloves, so we're just going to put that in our bank for now. So if we take all the imcando mattock pieces, a dragon mattock, and of course a red berry pie to our friend Thurgo, oh, and a small fee of 1 million coins, he will teach us the secrets to making an imcando mattock. With the secrets unlocked, we can come to Thalmon's Forge with all the pieces required, and we can make an imcando mattock. Now we have a crystal mattock and an imcando mattock. All we have to do is get 99 archaeology and we can make a mattock of time and space. But we're going to take a break from archaeology for now. So by actually training Herblore, we were able to get 90, which means we can now make extreme defense potions. We have a new port adventurer, we can get extended super anti-fires, we can make primal extracts. A lot of stuff is unlocked at level 90. But here's what's more important. We can use our God Banner to boost 2 levels for 30 minutes. So we can boost to level 92 and make extreme ranging potions. And since we're at 92, we can also make extreme magic potions, which require 91. This means we'll have all 5 extreme potions: attack, strength, defense, magic, and ranged. All you need is a Torstol and 96 Herblore, and you can make overloads. But we don't have 96 Herblore. Aha! But we can use Spicy Stews to boost to 96 and make a few of them. Let's get started. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Getting a +6 boost twice in one episode from Spicy Stews seems pretty difficult. That's a pretty rare thing to do. However, if you do the quest Evil Dave's Big Day Out, which I did ages ago, you have an increased chance of getting the +6 boost and a reduced chance of getting negative boosts. Getting the +6 boost on Runescape 3 as compared to old school is much easier. It can still be a little annoying, especially when you get the +6 boost and your skill immediately drops by 1 level, so you have to reboost. But getting the +6, see, I got it twice in a row. It's not too bad. Okay, I know I just made overloads and I didn't bring any overloads to this Reaper assignment, but I felt like it would be kind of useless to bring them here since I have 100% accuracy anyway. But while we were here, we got a Gown of Subjugation, our first God Wars dungeon drop, and probably the only God Wars dungeon drop for a while until I can get the Totem of Intimidation. I don't have to get kill count to enter these boss rooms because I hate getting kill count. It's very annoying. I can only kill about 4 or 5 bosses at a time because I don't pay attention. I need that totem. I need 90 Slayer to get that totem. So I figured a good place to test the overloads out would be at Vindicta. It's a pretty easy boss. I know how to deal with the boss pretty well. I do the resonance thing. Sometimes I screw up, but shut up. It is very painful to kill this boss when you don't have good accuracy. Right now I'm using a Sun Spear. For some reason, I didn't bring my Reaper's Necklace, and I don't know why, but honestly, even with the Reaper's Necklace, I don't think I'd be doing that much better. Using Chi Papa's hit chance calculator, which I assume is still accurate, even if I had 99 magic, using a Sun Spear with Piety, Overloads, and the Reaper's Necklace at full stack, phase 2 of Gorvek, I'd still only have a 75% chance of hitting. And it's super annoying when you need to use Debilitate to reduce the damage you're taking from the ranged hit, and you miss. So I think instead of camping Vindicta and Gorvek to get the Dragon Rider Lance right now, we should get a better weapon, something better than the Sun Spear. We have a few options. There are the Ports weapons, but that would take months. I'm not going to do that. We can try Chaotic weapons, but those only have about 100 extra accuracy, and the time it would take to get them just doesn't seem worth it. We could try to get weapons from other God Wars Dungeon 2 bosses, but that's no easier than killing Vindicta. We could try for a Royal Crossbow, but again, it's only tier 80 and we don't have access to criminal bolts, so what's the point? And we'd have to kill the Queen Black Dragon probably 100 times to even see part of the Royal Crossbow show up, and I hate the Queen Black Dragon. It is an annoying boss to kill. So what options do I have? Well, we need to get 85 Slayer first. And if you're an Ironman, I think you know what I'm thinking of. We got a focus site pretty early on this Slayer task, and I'm praying to all that is holy that I don't go dry for a Hex Crest. You can only kill these strike worms on a Slayer task, and the odds of getting these as a Slayer task is not very high. You see, the Hex Crest and the focus site give the same bonuses to magic and range respectively that the Black Mask gives to melee. Now that we unlock the ability to make a Slayer helmet, we can fuse the Black Mask, the face mask, the earmuffs, the nose peg, and the spiny helmet into one thing. So this helmet gives us bonuses for melee only. If we want to add the Hex Crest and the focus sight to the helmet, we need both of them. So this means we can't use a focus sight or a Hex Crest against, say, the Banshees in the Well, since you need a face mask and earmuffs, or against Aberrant Spectres. There are also upgrades we can unlock in the future from the Slayer Point shop, but we need a full Slayer helmet to get those upgrades, which means we need a Hex Crest and a focus sight. Oh, thank God. I thought this was going to take forever. Fantastic. We got a Hex Crest. The best part about having a full Slayer helmet now is I don't have to do desert or jungle strikeworm tasks ever again. I got a Zar Slayer task and I figured maybe it'd be fun to do some Fight Cauldron, but I didn't do the quest to unlock the Fight Cauldron yet. If you don't know what the Fight Cauldron is, it's basically a place where a bunch of Tokhar fight you in a cauldron and you get experience for it, but the amount of experience you get is higher because you're in the Fight Cauldron. It's like a little bonus. But also you get obsidian shards, which you can use to make obsidian bars that can be smithed into obsidian armor, which gives a damage reduction against all Zar creatures, including the Zekhar and Tizkalzuk in the Elder God Wars dungeon. In the quest Brink of Extinction, we learn that when a Zar gives birth to a child, its memories are passed on to that child. We also learn when a Zar dies, it becomes Tokul. Turns out they're still conscious while they're Tokul, and they're in incredible pain. The Zar didn't know this, and they implanted the memories of it into a Gal, which is one of the malformed, memoryless Zar, and now it's in incredible pain and it just wants to die. So we end up going to the Fight Cauldron, and he melts himself down into the Elder Kiln, which is where a lot of the Zar end up going during the events of Elder God Wars 3. They decide to reconstitute themselves into the hive mind of the Tokhar, which then get converted into Zekhar by Tizkalzuk. The Fight Cauldron's pretty easy. You just fight waves of Tokhar. You can leave at any time, and you get rewards when you leave. But if you die, you lose half of these shards you accumulated, so if you're about to die, make sure you get out of there real quick. So I had a Reaper assignment to kill Jad, and I thought, oh man, that's going to be a pain in the ass. How am I've got to do the fight cave like 4 times to kill Jad, or I have to do the fight kiln to kill the Jads? No, turns out you can fight Tizkalzuk up to the wave where you get the Jad, kill the Jad, leave the instance, come back in, and kill the Jad again. You just keep doing that over and over again, and complete the Reaper assignment. It's great. And I was going to point out how killing Jad with the obsidian armor pretty much makes him as dangerous as a puppy, since it halves all the damage he does, so he can't one-hit you. Zekhar Jad's max hit is 19,000. So basically they set it up so even if you're wearing the armor and you mess up the prayers, you can get one shot. So, to talk Jad in the fight caves, max hit is 8,000. With the armor, only 4,000. Tokhar Jad in the fight kiln has a max hit of over 12,000, but the armor should still protect you. Zakharjad has a max hit of 19,608, so he can hit you with the armor for about 9,800. That's probably going to be a one-shot, so make sure you pray against him. And of course, the best place to get 85 Slayer is by smooshing some Scarab Beetles. Look at that. 85 Slayer, which means we can now kill Abyssal Demons. We can get a whip and have the best weapon ever. No, actually, we unlock the Edgeville Slayer Master. Who is the Edgeville Slayer Master? You might be thinking, Vanica, you had him unlocked this whole time. There's another guy named Mandrith. He gives you Wilderness Slayer assignments, and after your first Slayer assignment you get a bounty emblem, and every time you complete a Slayer assignment with a bounty emblem in your inventory, it gains something you can think of like experience, and at certain experience breakpoints it upgrades to the next tier, up to a maximum of tier 10. If you take this emblem to Mandrith, you can exchange it for points that you can spend in the Slayer Bounty and Deathmatch Rewards shop. 30,000 points can get you one of 3 weapons: Obliteration, Decimation, or Annihilation. They are tier 87 weapons. Decimation is a charge bow, which means it doesn't need ammo, and it has a very good special attack where after you use it for the next 10 seconds, every attack you do will hit all enemies within a 3x3 area of that enemy you're attacking. It's a very good special attack that could have utility in the future when we have the Essence of Finality. The reason why we're getting Decimation instead of Obliteration or Annihilation is because for melee and magic, there are better options from God Wars Dungeon 2, such as the Dragon Rider Lance or the Cyware Elder's Wand and Orb, so I want to make this first purchase as sensible as possible. I want to have the least regrets from my purchase so I don't feel compelled to get another one and have to do Wilderness Slayer again, because to get a tier 10 emblem, you need to do 112 Slayer tasks in the Wilderness. And if you die, you lose all the points you have stored up back to the previous rank. So if you are at tier 9 and you die, you get dropped down to tier 8. And that's pretty rough because to go from tier 8 to tier 9 again, you need to do 23 Slayer tasks. And the more tasks you have to do means more time in the Wilderness, which increases your chances of being killed again. So you never want to die. I was planting the bloodweed seeds I was getting from these Slayer assignments, and we got 92 farming, which means we can now breed dragons. We do have 2 unchecked dragons. The question is, are they a breeding pair? The red one is male. The blue one is female. Awesome. We got a breeding pair for dragons. Great. You know, I was really hoping I'd have a lot of footage from my Wilderness Slayer campaign, but not much really happened. The drops weren't that amazing. I didn't get a Stadius Warhammer, unfortunately. I got some Brawling Gloves, so that's neat. But for the most part, it was pretty quiet. The only tasks I did were Hellhounds, Abyssal Demons, Blue and Green Dragons, and Revenants. I had Slayer VIP tokens for every task, so I had a choice between 2 every single time, and I used points to skip the really bad tasks, like Fire Giants. But yeah, it was pretty quiet. The only people I saw were other Ironmen doing the same thing I was doing, and they teleported immediately when they saw me, and I teleported immediately when I saw them. Of course, I was tense the entire time. I was terrified, but it was fine. So here we are, converting our tier 10 emblem into 40,000 Slayer bounty points, which means we can use 30,000 of them to buy Decimation. And we'll have an extra 10,000 just sitting there, probably forever, because I'm not going to do this again. The Wilderness is too stressful. So here's a gander at what I got. It's not super interesting, nothing super special, except for maybe the Ancient Warrior patches. You can use them to upgrade Ancient Warrior items to tier 88, but they degrade to dust, so One of the other benefits of getting Decimation instead of Annihilation or Obliteration is that we can use Dragonbone ammunition to fight the Queen Black Dragon. This allows us to have 100% accuracy against her so that the fight isn't as annoying, even though it's always going to be annoying since you have to wait 20 seconds before you can actually do anything. And our stupid ghosts like to spawn in like 4 different spots, so you end up getting obliterated by their swirly death pool things. Those complaints aside, now if we get a QBD Reaper assignment, we can kill her without much worry, and at least the loot from her isn't totally terrible. You get Royal Dragonhide, you get Dragon Bones, you sometimes get gold, rock tails, lantadimes, and sometimes you get lucky, and you get the first piece of the Royal Crossbow. Thanks for watching. Take care.